Hello, hello, hello. Always curious of what to say to introduce these things. I don't sound like a dumbass and saying hello, hello, hello. Right, so while people get tuned in, let's have a look at what we'll be working on today. The Necromunda Bounty Hunter. One of my favourite models released from the Weekender a couple of weeks ago. And now I've sprayed it, now I've gone live. I can see all sorts of wonderful tide marks and breaks. Now just see on the image, that is tremendously saturated. So let's mess with the filters, color correction, darken it down, contrast, brightness, saturation. Let's kill the saturation a little bit. Okay, brilliant. Hey, how are you doing, Third Dimension VR? If you are viewing this for the first time, please leave a message. Please say hi. Thanks for joining in. Today, we only have a very brief window of time to have a look at how to do this guy's cloak. And one thing you may notice during the course of recording is that I'm losing my voice. It had to break just when I was saying that. I don't know where it's come from. I feel fine, other than my voice just seems to be going every now and again. So apologies for that. When it comes to this bounty hunter cloak, the character is very ornate. He's a rich guild-sponsored bounty hunter, a former judge of the Arbites. I believe his dress is rather fanciful, high-end, high-tech, very made to the best possible of quality. To display the character in all his full regalia, I want to give the inside of his cloak a really, really nice pattern. Now, in order to do this, I am going to create a pattern on the inside. This is a very easy, quick way to create a pattern. Well, I say easy and quick. I've been practicing this for a while. What we need to do is get a brush. In this case, I'm using the Artist Opus Series 7 00. I promised I'm not sponsored by them. I'm not one of the featured artists. I find that this brush is perfect for this kind of procedure, where we need to fan the bristles out a little bit and create an ornate pattern. So let's bring this in. What we need to do is create tiny spirals. Let me make sure that you can see that. Good. Okay. Tiny spirals. I'm using not Thamar white, Mara white. Breaking my voice. Mara white from Form P3. Using the very tip of the brush. I'm just letting the brush meander on the surface. Now you can see as the bristles fray, they create these wonderful patterns. Having a brush that does this really does help create these kind of ornate patterns. Doing this on a black background. The paint will cooperate with me. Let's bring that more on screen. Let's zoom out a little bit actually, give you guys a chance to see it. Trying to create fluted patterns. Yeah, I'm not going with any pre-designed design in mind. I'm just going to let the brush meander along the surface of the miniature to give me the effect I'm looking for. If you guys have any questions, now is the time to ask. If you want any paint recipes, if you wonder how I do something, or just how something's done in general, well, this is the platform for you. These seminars are designed mainly for me to just sit and chat to you guys, but to answer any questions, any burning questions you may have. Voice allowing, of course. Here, good. Glad you could see that on the camera. Okay, let's let me know what you're up to in your own hobby, what you've been collecting. Are you having a nice lazy Sunday afternoon, just sloshing paint on some miniatures? Do you have an event coming up that you need to get all those infantry done for? Ooh. Don't want to do that. This technique I'm only using the very tip of the brush. It's a very light brush, okay, it doesn't want to do that. It's very light pressure. Just add a few details here and there. A bit of micro detailing. As a first pass, that's not bad. I rather like that as a first pass. Okay, I think the inside of his cloak I would like to be purple. To begin the process, I'm using Elendil Violet. Going to create a wash-like consistency from it. I'm going to cover the surface with the purple. You can see some of the white poking through. Here you go. Now let's hit this with a hairdryer. Excuse the loud noise. Let's do it. Let's do it again. Purple is one of those wonderful colours you can do a lot of things with because it straddles. Well, when it comes to magenta, it starts to straddle the warm-cool divide. So you can have magenta being a relatively warm colour with lots of red in there. And then you can use a more of a blue-violet for the shadows. Now, it's more than acceptable to leave it at this stage, but we want to push it on an extra level. For this, I will be using Magenta, Murderous Magenta from Formula P3. I'll be creating a glaze-like consistency yet again. Across the entirety of the surface. And then let it settle. Set it with a hairdryer again. Apologies for the loud noise. Okay. Now for the second layer. Let's take our white and add it to our Murderous Magenta to create a very light pink. I want us to retrace the steps we've just created. In effect, reinforce what we've just done. Don't be worried if the brush flays out in any unusual directions. In fact, that's what you want it to do. You want it to pick up on different design notes. Do you have any questions, any problems, any concerns? Miniature painting, now is the time to ask. I had a spare half an hour. I thought, why not jump on and do a quick video on this. If you were interested in learning more, there'll be a full Sanguinius video coming up this week, or the beginning of a full tutorial series. The man himself, I managed to finish him last week. Painting all those individual feathers almost killed me. Pop this highlight in here. So you see, the more intricate the detail, the more elaborate the design. Let's continue on process here. Okay, this brush can't quite get into those details. So let's move on to a Raphael 8404 double 20. It's a very, very thin brush. Just creating those very tight pattern swirls, just using the very tip of my brush for this action. Let's redefine some of these in here as well. Just reinforcing some of the patterns that I can see. Anything I don't like, I can take a pinch of black. Okay. Right, next stage, Lendl Violet yet again. And the violet. Sorry, then the magenta. Hit it with a header. And same procedure again with magenta. to finish off this procedure, I need to get some ink. For this, I've got a wonderful colour by Winsor & Newton called purple. I'll thin it with a minute amount of water. And cover the surface. That will give me the impression of rich embroidered robes. Which I can then freehand another design over, or do pretty much whatever I like. In fact, let's continue playing with the pattern. Let's refine some of these details. Using the Raphael 8404. I'm using the wrong brush. Okay, Raphael 8404. Again, guys, if you have any questions, now's the time to ask. Currently, I can only see the YouTube comment section, so if you have any questions that need immediate answers, post it up in there. If you're watching for the first time, welcome. I'll have a quick look in my Facebook account in a moment to see if any questions are being asked there. Okay, let's have a look, see if there's any questions rolling in. Nope. Nice quiet one today, nice quiet Sunday afternoon. I'm just going to spend meandering around here then. Hope you're doing something nice with your Sunday afternoon, getting in some hobby, getting in some painting maybe, assembling. So that's what the cloak is looking like. Might add another layer of plum on the top. fact, I'm going to reinforce these slightly more with a touch of white. That way when they hit them again with plum, they're going to really, really stand out. The ink is very, it's quite, it takes a long time to dry. So any patterns, any designs you make, no matter how white they may seem now, they will be blended back as the ink infiltrates them. This is one of the advantages of using Winsor & Newton ink, is that they take a long, long time to fully dry. They're not really meant to be used in the manner we're using them here. Which has advantages and disadvantages. One of the disadvantages being that days after painting you may find that any colours you've added on top have now become discoloured. It's very disheartening, but one of the advantages is that we could push highlights here, knowing that it will be pushed back later on as the ink works its way through those top layers you've developed. Very good for marbling. If you would like a full tuition series on marbling, well, Patreon is excellent to sign up for at the moment. There's the full range of marbling techniques, from black to yellows to reds. There's just so many marble techniques out there on Patreon at the moment. Sorry, my voice is on the go. Another really nice side effect of this is that the ink leaves a slightly satin finish. Okay, there we go. Oh, Cannoli Crusader, hey. Yes, I am indeed doing a pattern, rich embroidered pattern on this Bounty Hunter's cloak. It's quite a quick technique. Once you have the basic stages down, where you work on top of a black background, pure white, and then you use inks and regular paints to modulate the underlying layer. Nice, short, sharp and sweet video for you guys. If you have any questions, now is the time to ask, or forever hold your peace. In fact, before I leave you, I'm going to give you a quick tip when it comes to color blending. Sorry. When it comes to mixing up your own paints, mix up your own colors, and you don't exactly know where to start, try this to begin with. Yellow, lots and lots of white, a pinch of black. It's a great bone. Only use these three colors to develop any bone colors you may want to use. that is it for today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will catch you next time. I'm going to give my throat a bit of a rest. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.